You say, Judge Thomas, that I must pay $500 million. $500 million, as though Burkina Faso is your small company, as though Africa is your private business, as though my people are your unpaid employees. You call it justice. I call it daylight robbery in slow motion. And you expect me to stand here, head bowed, like a schoolboy caught stealing lunch? No, I will stand tall, and I will look you in the eye, because this is not about money. This is about sovereignty, dignity, and truth. $500 million. Do you even understand what that means to my people? That is not just a number. That is not just an entry in your court's ledger. That is the face of a child who will never see the inside of a school. That is the tear of a mother who will not be able to afford medicine for her baby. That is a well that will never be dug in a village where women walk 10 kilometers for water. You find me because I refuse to let you steal, and then you tell me I am the thief. You punish me for protecting what belongs to my people, and then you call it the rule of law. What law is this? A law that bends for the strong and breaks for the weak is not law. It is tyranny wearing a suit. You accuse me of violating contracts. Yes, I violated contracts that were signed in the shadows, in the time of cowardly leaders who sold the people's future for a handshake and a photo opportunity. I violated contracts that gave foreign corporations 90% of our gold and left my people with crumbs. I violated contracts that were not made in the name of Burkina Faso, but in the name of greed. And if protecting my nation's resources makes me guilty, then I will gladly be guilty for the rest of my life. If it makes me guilty, then I will gladly be guilty for the rest of my life. Do you think this 500 million will make me surrender? Do you think it will make me abandon the mines, the fields, the rivers, and the skies of Burkina Faso? My people have been poor before. We have been stripped of everything before. Our land, our dignity, even our names. And yet we have survived. We have rebuilt. We have stood again. We have planted seeds in dry earth and watched them grow. You cannot bankrupt the human spirit. You hide behind legal language, breach of contract, damages, international obligations, but strip it all away and what is left, colonialism, recycled for the 21st century. It is the same colonialism my ancestors faced when they were told they had to pay taxes for living on their own land. It is the same colonialism my grandparents saw when French soldiers took their harvests to feed Europe while our villages went hungry. The difference now is that the soldiers have been replaced by lawyers, the rifles replaced by court orders, and the plunder is signed with your signature instead of stamped with your seal. I will not pretend to respect a court that does not respect my people. Respect is earned, not demanded. And no, Judge Thomas, I do not owe you my obedience. My oath is to the soil of Burkina Faso, to the children who run barefoot in our villages, to the elders whose hands shaped this land long before your empire ever dreamed of touching it. Do you think history will remember your fine? History will not remember you for the numbers you wrote on paper. It will remember you for trying to silence a people who refuse to kneel. And it will remember me not as a defendant in your court, but as a defender of my nation. When I was a boy, my father told me stories of our heroes. He told me of Thomas Sankara, who said, "He who feeds you controls you." He told me of Patrice Lumumba, who said, "History will one day have its say." He told me of the countless nameless men and women who resisted colonial rule with nothing but courage in their hearts. And now, I see myself in their footsteps. You think you can shame me with this fine? No. You have honored me by placing me in the same fight they fought. I know why I am here. I know why this court exists. It is not to protect justice. It is to protect your interests. It is to remind every African leader what happens if they dare to think independently. You want them to look at me and say, If they can find Traore $500 million, what will they do to me? You want fear, you will get the opposite. You will get defiance. You will get a continent that is waking up and saying, no more. You have ruled over us for centuries. You took our gold, our diamonds, our oil, our coffee, our cocoa. You took our people as slaves, our children as soldiers, our cultures as curiosities in your museums. And now you take us to court for the crime of wanting our own resources. The arrogance is astonishing. You are like a thief who robs a man's house, then sues him for damages because the man dared to lock his door. I want my people to hear me clearly. In Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, in Ghana, in Senegal, across every African border, this fine is not about me as a man. This fine is about us as a people. It is a message to all of Africa. Do not resist, do not think, do not lead. And I am here to tell you, we will resist, we will think, we will lead, and we will win. They tell us we must pay colonial debts, we must honor colonial contracts, we must abide by colonial trade rules. But they have never honored the debt they owe us, the debt of centuries of stolen wealth, stolen lives, stolen futures. If we were to calculate what Europe and America owe Africa, 500 million would be nothing. They owe us trillions. They owe us the return of every resource they took. They owe us the return of every life they destroyed. But we do not take them to court. We take them to history. And history will judge them far more harshly than any court can judge me. Judge Thomas, you may pass your sentence. You may write your numbers. You may threaten my country with sanctions, embargoes, blockades. But let me make something clear. We will not pay, not today, not tomorrow, not in 10 years, not in 100. If you want the wealth of Burkina Faso, you will have to come and take it with your own hands, and you will find that the hands of my people are ready. You can freeze our accounts, we will build our own banks. You can blacklist our leaders, we will raise new leaders from the soil. You can cut us off from your trade, we will trade with each other, with Asia, with Latin America, with anyone who treats us as equals. The days when Africa's destiny was written in European capitals are over. Now it will be written in Ouagadougou, in Bamako, in Addis Ababa. And to the youth, the young men and women listening to me now, I am speaking to you. Do not be intimidated by their courts. Do not be shaken by the robes they wear or the flags they stand under. Do not be blinded by the cameras they point in your face or the headlines they write in their newspapers. These are tools of intimidation. These are the chains of the modern age. Invisible, silent, polished, but chains nonetheless. They will call you radical. They will call you extremist. They will call you dangerous. Good. Wear those names like armor. Wear them like a medal pinned to your chest, because in their vocabulary, radical means someone who refuses to bow down. Extremist means someone who will not be bought. Dangerous means someone they cannot control. They cannot control. And if that is what you are, then never apologize for it. They will tell you that independence is impossible. They will look you in the eyes and say, Africa cannot survive without our aid, without our loans, without our approval, and they will say it with the same confidence as a jailer telling a prisoner that life outside the cell is impossible. But my young brothers and sisters, the door is open, the cell is not locked. What keeps us inside is not the lock. It is the belief they have planted in our minds. Understand this, their aid is not a gift. Aid is nothing but a leash, and a leash has only one purpose, to keep you where the master wants you. They give with one hand and take with the other. They give us wheat but take our gold. They give us medicine but take our oil. They give us development projects that employ their own companies, their own engineers, their own workers, while our youth sit unemployed in the streets. And then they tell us we should be grateful, but I am telling you, Africa's youth, you were not born to be on a leash. You were born to be free. Your destiny is not to be forever developing while others are forever developed. Your destiny is not to be the raw material supplier for someone else's empire. Your destiny is not to migrate in desperation to foreign lands because your own land has been emptied of opportunity. Your destiny is here, on this soil, in this sun, under these skies. You ask me, but Traore, how do we break free? We break free first in the mind. Before we build our roads, our factories, our armies, we must rebuild our thinking. We must unlearn the lies we have been taught since childhood. We must unlearn that the white man's approval is the measure of progress. We must unlearn that English or French is the only language of success. We must unlearn that our culture is backward, our history is irrelevant, our traditions are obstacles. Because here is the truth they will never teach you in their schools. Africa is not poor. Africa has never been poor. Africa is the richest land on earth, but the poorest in freedom. And that poverty of freedom is what allows them to rob us. The day we reclaim our freedom, we will not need their aid, their loans, their pity. We will stand on our own legs, and the world will have to deal with us as equals. Do not let them scare you with their power. They have armies, we have people. They have banks, we have land. They have media, we have truth. They have courts, we have history, and history is the final judge. You see, every empire that came before them believed it would last forever. The Romans thought so, the British thought so, the French thought so, and where are they now? Their empires are history books, their power reduced to stories told in classrooms. Why? Because no empire can outlast the will of a people determined to be free. I know some of you think, but Traore, we are young, we have no weapons, we have no wealth, we have no influence. Listen to me. You have something greater. You have time, you have numbers, and you have fire in your hearts. If the youth of Africa decide today that they will no longer be silent, no court in the world can contain that decision. But you must be prepared. They will try to buy you. They will offer you scholarships, contracts, positions in their institutions. They will offer you comfort in exchange for your silence. They will smile as they slip the collar around your neck, and they will tell you it is gold. Refuse it. Refuse it not because comfort is bad, but because comfort bought with silence is slavery. Refuse it not because you hate them, but because you love your people more. Refuse it because there is no wealth greater than the wealth of dignity. And when they threaten you, when they point to leaders like me and say, see, we find him, we isolated him, we will do the same to you, smile. Because the fact that they must threaten you means they fear you, and fear is the beginning of their defeat. Africa's youth, I am not asking you to wait for leaders to save you. Leaders are only as strong as the people behind them. If you want strong leaders, be a strong people. Organize, educate yourselves beyond what their schools teach you. Learn your history, learn your languages, learn your land, its rivers, its minerals, its seasons, so that no foreigner can tell you more about it than you know yourself. Build networks across borders. Speak to your brothers in Ghana, your sisters in Kenya, your cousins in Haiti, your friends in Brazil. Remember, Africa is not just a continent. Africa is a people, scattered by history but united by destiny. And if you take nothing else from my words today, take this. You are not the future, you are the present. They tell you one day when you are older, you will lead. No, lead now. If you wait for the perfect time, it will never come. The struggle is now, the responsibility is now. The freedom we want will not be handed to us by those who profit from our chains. It will be taken not with hatred, but with courage, unity, and unbreakable will. So let them call you radical. Let them call you dangerous. Let them call you whatever they want. When the history of this century is written, it will not remember the names of every judge who passed every sentence, but it will remember the generation that said enough. It will remember the young Africans who stood up, not just for themselves, but for all those yet to be born. And I believe, no, I know, that you are that generation. When they ask me how I can stand here and defy a court that can take everything from me, I tell them, you cannot take from a man who stands on truth. You cannot bankrupt a man who owes you nothing. You cannot silence a man who speaks for millions. So Judge Thomas, go ahead. Sign your judgment, announce your victory to your newspapers. But know this, you have not silenced me. You have given me a microphone. You have not broken me, you have built me. And you have not scared Africa, you have awakened her. And when the day comes, and it will come, when Africa stands united with her own currency, her own army, her own institutions, your courts will be irrelevant. No sumus es da la Brasil. Your fines will be irrelevant, your power will be irrelevant. And we will remember this day not as the day you defeated us, but as the day you proved to the world that we were right to fight. Because the fight is not over. It has just begun.
Family, let us talk about Ibrahim Traore, what he's doing in Burkina Faso, and the attacks that he's facing left, right, center for upgrading Burkina Faso's. Fine, he took power through coup d'etat. But what he did, there was a vacuum. All the minerals that are in Burkina Faso were not helping Burkina Faso's. They were not upgrading their own countries, but they were being shipped out of the country. Now that he has taken charge of the country and the beneficiary of all the minerals in the country now are benefiting the citizens of the country, infrastructure, everything that he is doing, it's everywhere on the internet. But now for doing this kind of things, he is being accused. There's a lot of things that are happening. When is Africa going to stand on its own and never have the big brother? Because the problem is when a country has a big brother who will tell you what to do with your minerals, what not to do, how to rule your people, how to go about with all the errands of the country. This is where the wrong start. You start to realize now, when you listen to what Traore did here, answering to this judge with the fine of 500 million, and he's being fair with it, that money can go a long way to help the people of Burkina Faso. He's not talking about himself pocketing the money into his pocket, but he's talking about the people of Burkina Faso, who he cares deeply about them. He wants to see them prospering, being entrepreneurs. Not everybody has to be employed. That is what Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. The people of Burkina Faso are all building their own country without contracts and everything. They, the people of Burkina Faso, are building their own roads. They are building their own infrastructure. They are doing agriculture. They are doing hospitals. As we talked last week, he was opening a stadium in that country. There's a new mall that is being left, right, center. It's construction in that country because now they are using the same minerals that they have to build their own country. But now it's like they have to be penalized for doing that. I understand that everybody has to make his own country great again. Why, when Africa or Africans are taking a stand to make Africa great again and they are being attacked? It is really disgusting. Family, what do you think about the speech? This was a powerful speech from Traore. I have listened to the speech maybe 20 times because what he is saying, it makes sense. Family, what do you think? Drop your comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I wish all the African leaders will stand up. I've seen Botswana, Namibia, and Zambia. Now, there will be movement within those countries without using visas or passport. They are going to use their ID from one country to another country. That is how Africa should be like. Once we have United States of Africa, this is what everybody's been praying for. But as long as we still have puppets in power, we'll never achieve that. That is why we see people like Traore taking power and giving everything to the people. Because now what Traore has done in Africa, he has done something that has never been done in Africa, with all the leaders, combining them all, except I can only say the leader that I've seen, no matter they call him a dictator, is Kagame. From 30 years from genocide, he has taken his country somewhere. Though he has got his own loopholes, but what he has done to his country is big. Family, drop your comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is our Africa. Africa, let's unite. Bravo, bravo.